Welcome to the Brad and Taylor Show. Today we have Mike Procissi.
You're listening to the Brad and Taylor Show, a podcast that inspires entrepreneurs to pursue their passions. We're sitting down with some of the best to learn how they got started and some lessons they learned along the way.
How's it going, Mike?
Doing great. How you doing?
We're good. We're glad to have you on.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
So who is Mike and what does Mike do?
Mike is a real estate broker, and I'm married to my beautiful wife, Peggy, and we raised 3 of our 6 grandchildren. And so that's kind of fun for me because they're all girls. So needless to say, I'm at the office a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. You're like, we're going to the office. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So did you want to be an agent when you grew up? Did you want to know you're going to have your own office? Did you, what did you want to be when you grew up when you were little?
Wanted to be a soldier because when I was in kindergarten, we lived in a house and we were right in the flight path of Selfridge Air Force Base. And we'd watch the guys parachute out of the planes and they jumped out right over my house. And then they would parachute down into Selfridge Air Force Base. And that made me always want to be a soldier. And my dad wanted me to be a real estate agent because he taught me real estate from when I was little. I think I was the only kid that had a bookcase full of MLS listing books in their bedroom.
Was your dad a real estate agent?
Yeah. Okay. My dad was one of the top agents in Metro Detroit in the 70s. And he also owned the Michigan Real Estate Academy and he taught. And when I first started out, everywhere I went, they called me Pat's kid because a lot of the people knew my dad.
Yeah.
And a lot had gone to his school. And I mean, when I was little, I thought my dad was a celebrity. You couldn't even go to McDonald's without 8 people coming over and saying hi to him.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because he knew everybody. He sold so many houses and everybody loved him.
So you went
My grandpa was a realtor too.
Okay.
Wow.
So it's in the family then. It's fun.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's interesting. So you went from wanting to be a soldier. So when did you start in real estate?
I actually broke down and got my license 6 years ago.
Okay.
But, I was in the Army and then I came home and I worked in a factory and drove a truck for a little while. And I was like, nope, this isn't me. Mm-hmm. I looked at real estate, but everywhere you looked, there's Pat's kid. And I wanted to be Mike. So I did mortgages instead. And I worked at Flagstar. I did mortgages for years. Then I went into, I thought the market was going to crash before it did. And I remember back in 78 when Jimmy Carter was president and interest rates were 18%. And my dad was selling cars. And I was like, Dad, why are you selling cars? He's like, because nobody's buying houses right now. He said, in bad times, people buy trailers and cars. And so I thought that the market was going to crash back. I thought it was going to crash 6 years before it did.
Yeah. Because
you saw a lot of what you're seeing in the market now with people were bidding $10,000 and $15,000 and $20,000 over list price and guaranteeing it, and the market was just skyrocketing and it looked like it was going to crash. So I bailed out and went and started selling trailers.
Okay.
And then I did that for a few years where it was pretty fun though. I went to a place and the office I took over, they had sold 24 the year before and I sold 75 in 90 days.
Nice. You're like, I got this.
Days.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So 3 times what they were doing for the full year.
Yeah. And I ended up being the sales manager there and teaching everybody else how to do it. Mm-hmm. Then I moved into management and then, and that carried me through the market crash because I had a nice secure job with a nice fat salary.
Yeah.
And then when I saw the economy going back, I was like, hey, let's go back into this. And so then I decided to fulfill the promise I gave my father the day he died. I sat there like this when he made me promise to get my real estate license. Fingers crossed. Okay, Dad, I will. Because, I saw all the hours he worked. My dad wasn't home a lot. He was a beast. He sold more houses than anyone could imagine. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But I saw the sacrifice for his personal life that took. And that was the thing that made me not want to get into this, because it just, once you get going and you're good at it, then your phone never stops ringing. And, there's no such thing as getting everything done today, and it really takes a lot of time blocking and scheduling and planning and sticking to a schedule to make it work.
Yeah. Do you time block still today?
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, I used to do it where it was reactionary when I was starting out, and I would just, somebody called and said, "Hey, I want to see this house at this time." Okay.
Yeah.
And now it's no, I schedule myself. This is what I'm doing here. This is what I'm doing here. This is what I'm doing here. Because there's no way you can sell 80 plus houses a year when you're not sticking to a set schedule of how you're going to spend your day.
Yeah,
it just
you
doesn't
have
work.
A personal life at that point. It would just be work.
That's the fun thing about this, though, is I can work from home and be there with my family.
Yeah.
My wife goes with me a lot. Like, she goes when I go on showings and stuff. She comes to the office with me.
Okay.
Oh yeah, she's my best friend in the whole world, and we can't stand ever being apart. We like to spend 24 hours a day together.
That's rare. That's a good thing, though.
Hey, I stalked her for 5 months to get her to go out with me. She's not getting away now.
What was the thing that finally made her say yes? What do you remember? Like,
I lied to her and told her she'd go out with me one time, and if she didn't like me, I would never ask her again.
Yeah, she ended up liking you.
Yeah, well, I mean, she couldn't help it. I was sneaking up through her backyard. She would sit at her neighbor's house and be out there having coffee and playing cards, and I would sneak up through her backyard and cut her off, because when she'd see my truck coming down the street, she'd run in her house, walk the door, and Sharon would be like, "She's not home." And I'd be like, "Yes, she is. I watched her run in her house." And she's like, "She doesn't like you." I told her, "Too bad." I mean, when you look like me, you got to wear women down to get them to go out with you.
Well, whatever you did, it must have worked. I mean, how long have you guys been married now?
We've been almost 11 years.
Yeah. So It worked.
Yeah. No, we just, I don't know. We're just inseparable, and I'm happiest when I'm with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And the day I met her, I don't know, I felt so drawn to her, and I wanted to grab her and kiss her. And I was like, "No, you can't do that." And I kept thinking about her for like a couple of years, and I never could get her off my mind. So I was like, "Screw it, I'm going for it." Yep. And then she'd tell me, "I don't like you, go away." And I'd be like, "Nope."
That's not a good enough answer for me. Nope.
I'm either going to jail or we're going out.
Well, you didn't go to jail.
Yeah.
When I set my mind to something, I do it. I mean, I have more willpower than most people you'll ever meet, and I'm very determined and I'm very driven. And I think that's one of the things that really helps me to succeed in real estate so well, because I won't back down. I'm not one of those people that, some people sit there and go, "Oh, I can't say that. I don't know what that means." If it needs to be said and it's the truth, I say it.
Yeah.
If it needs to be done, I do it. Do what you're supposed to do, stick to your word, and do what you're supposed to do. And, that's the biggest place that people fail in this industry, is they make excuses. "Oh, I can't do that," or "I can't say that." And I remember starting out when I used to go knock on people's doors and talk to them. And my wife would be like, "How do you just go up to complete strangers and talk to them? Like, what's the worst going to happen?" They say no.
Yeah.
I go knock on the next door. Somebody's going to say yes.
Yep.
And I mean, this is an industry that you get what you put into it is what you take out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can't have fear. You can't back down. But
how has your marketing changed kind of over the years? So you said you used to knock on doors. Do you still do that, or when did you stop doing that, and how did it transition over?
No, I knocked on doors like in my first year in the business.
Okay.
And then I started just picking up, like last year, out of 82 deals that I closed, 52 were past clients and referrals from past clients.
Okay, that's awesome.
So the majority of my business is people that I've worked with that know me and they trust me because they know how I am. They know that I'm right there and I take care of you, and I'm not going to back down from anybody, and I fight for you. And I'm just straight up honest with everybody. I don't believe there's anything that you don't say to somebody, and I don't play the, "Oh, well, let's be buddies, so we'll screw the client because me and you are buddies." My clients come first.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
And that's how you sell so many houses.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. What did you say you did? Did you say you did 82 last year?
Yeah.
Nice. It's pretty good.
Yeah, in Wayne County, I ranked 44th in closed production, not all agents.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah. So this year we're shooting for 25.
Nice. Hey, can't complain there. Go for it.
I'm only 2 years away from number one.
You got it planned out. I like it. That's how you dominate.
Yeah.
Yep. Stick your mind to it, like you said, and you're run with it and go from there. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, that's all.
Yeah. So what kind of advice did you get in the beginning when you started out in the real estate stuff? Since you kind of did all the kind of a couple other things before you decided, well, maybe I should get my real estate license. Was there any like advice you got that you were like that you took and ran with?
Yeah, anything from like your grandpa or your dad, because they were both.
Yeah, my dad passed away in '89. He was 22 when he died.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember a lot of the things that he taught me, because he used to always tell me, "You're going to be a real estate agent."
Yeah.
Damn it, he was right again. That was one thing with my dad. I learned when I was young, I'd always think things, and he'd sit you there and he'd be like, "Now, son, look at it from this perspective," and make me think things through. And he told me, this is really where you should be at. And he was always right. It's like, damn it. But when I first started out, I started at a company where they didn't have great training and there was no mentoring. It was kind of cutthroat, every man for himself type of thing. And, they had training classes, but they were 1987 David Knox videos. Like my favorite, where he got out of his 85 Chrysler New Yorker and left the door open and went up to the for sale by owner and knocked on the door and told me he had a client that wanted their house because he saw it when he was down the street showing another house. And it's like, oh my God, this is lame. So really what I did is I concentrated on getting a lot of continuing education. And like I try to take 2 designation classes every year. Like last year, I had 70 some hours of continuing education just last year, because I know that the secret to this business is knowledge. The thing that people are hiring us for is our knowledge and our expertise and our integrity.
Yep.
And the best thing a new agent can do that's starting out is to get as much training as they can and as much education as they can, so you have a much better understanding of how this industry really works. And that's really the secret to success. And I think that's why you see so many people fail, is because so many people put minimal effort into it. They get into this business thinking, I can set my own schedule. I'll work when it's convenient for me. And I'll get that 6 hours of continuing education we're required right there at October 28th before the October 31st deadline. And then they take the class that, it's all 6 hours in one, and it's just there to satisfy your continuing education, but they keep taking the same one.
Right.
And they're not growing, they're not educating themselves. You look at like somebody going to other professional, like a lawyer or a doctor, those people are constantly staying on top of what's happening in their industry, the new changes. And so many real estate agents fail to do that. And if you really want to rise to the top and succeed in this business, you have to stay on the cutting edge. You have to constantly invest your time in educating yourself so you are the expert, because that's what people are paying you for, is your expertise more than anything else.
Yeah.
And if you sold 4 houses and you've had 2 hours of continuing education, you're not an expert.
Nope. Not yet, huh?
Yep.
Take us back to your most memorable transaction in real estate.
My favorite deal that I ever sold. God, there's so many. So many of my clients are friends, they become friends and I just love them. But I had one house in Trenton. It was on Edsel, and it was in Bretton Woods, which is one of my favorite neighborhoods. And I think I competed with 7 other agents to get the listing. And the people told me by far I blew everybody else out of the water. So we listed their house and advertised it, and I made this cool video, and it was so funny. I had this video playing on Facebook and stuff, and like we were sitting in a restaurant and I heard the music from the video playing, and these people were at the table were showing it to somebody else. And then
you were there?
Other people there at another table were like, is that a house in Trenton? They're like, yeah, did you see it? It's beautiful. It was this awesome mid-century ranch. And we had an open house, and I took 75 flyers with me, and we were out in an hour and 10 minutes. We had a line at the door for people getting into this house.
Oh, dang.
And people were parking at the church a block away and walking to the open house.
Wow.
And I had one neighbor came down and said, I had to see what was going on down here. There's just so many people going on. We had to see what was happening. We ended up selling that house. It appraised, we were listed at 225, listed at 227. We closed at 250.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And that was in 2017 before it was really crazy.
Yeah. How many offers did you end up getting from those open houses? Do you remember?
32, 33.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a
That
lot.
was from 4 days of showings.
Oh,
I had people, I got feedback from one agent saying, we didn't even bother looking. My clients will not engage in this circus atmosphere. You should be ashamed. And I'm like, ashamed? Why? Because I knocked it out of the park.
What should I
know,
listen?
and that's what I like to do on every damn house, and everybody loved the photography of it. They were all, oh, the pictures are so good. Who's your photographer? And I'm laughing. I'm going, me. But I have an even better photographer now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I have an amazing photographer now.
That's good. Who is it? I'm just kidding.
Hey,
that's awesome.
I had a client who was a photographer, and I had hired a photographer, and he didn't like the photos of his house. And so me and him sat down and looked through the MLS, and he actually picked out the houses he thought were the best photographed ones. And I called the 3 listing agents, and they all gave me the same answer. It was all the same person. So ever since then, she's been my photographer.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, she's amazing. She really, and the people that take pictures with their cell phones should be shot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like in our company, our policy is you use professional photography on all listings because it's one of the most important pieces of marketing a home.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was telling one of our last guests that we bought our house literally from the ones that didn't have photos because there was no offers on it. Everything else had multiple offers.
Yeah.
Well, if you look, like National Association of Realtors, they did a survey, and there's other entities that have done surveys, and you'll see that it's in the 90 percentile of people that say that they scroll through the pictures, and if the pictures don't grab them, they move on to the next listing.
Oh yeah.
And that's what most people do.
Yeah.
So when you're sitting there and you got crappy cell phone pictures, and you can see your rear view mirror in the exterior photo because you shot it from your car, and you didn't even bother trying to edit the pictures at all. I mean, I think professional photography is the most important part of marketing because that's really what draws the people in.
Yeah, I agree with that. When we were looking for homes, if the pictures didn't do us any justice, like we didn't even bother looking at it, honestly. Like we just kind of like, oh, on to the next one. But
Yep.
What other kind of marketing do you do? So that's kind of like your standard. What other kind of marketing do you do that you like to do? Like, what is your favorite thing to market?
I like doing social media marketing, and I think that's a really important piece of your marketing because people go look on Zillow and stuff, but if you do it on social media like Facebook, and people see a post on Facebook, they'll tag their friend in there.
Yeah. Yep.
And what a lot of people don't realize, that's actually a lead for you because you can message that friend that got tagged and say, hey, are you interested in checking out this house?
Yep.
And those are organic leads. And a lot of people, you see a lot of agents that just pass on those. And it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Someone's interested.
Somebody just told me, hey, that person's looking for a house like this.
Right.
They're holding up a sign.
Yeah. Yep.
Pick me.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do is look for a guy going, me.
Yeah.
I'm next.
That's awesome. I mean, social media is so powerful these days.
It is because everybody's there, and it's an important thing. It's a powerful tool.
Yeah. So what are you doing these days? You said let's talk about your new brokerage you got going on. Tell us about that.
So we opened our brokerage on February 11th, Powerhouse Group Realty, and we're located in Southgate, and we're starting out slow. We have a couple agents we brought on already, but we're going at a very measured pace because we want to make sure that we have everything in order and up and running before we start bringing on agents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll stick this phone in my desk here. Bye. There's an awful lot that goes into it, like getting all your website, your CRM set up, getting all your contracts in order and all that good jazz. And, we pretty much spent the last month just concentrating on building the brokerage.
Yeah.
And we have some good people coming over. We have it geared towards working with agents that have been in the business a while, that are experienced, that have integrity, that have a great reputation, not only in the public, but among other agents.
Okay.
What we're looking for is the people who other agents enjoy working with because they're good agents.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
awesome.
I don't want the drama. I don't want I got my real estate license and I'm going to sit here and take up sit base and not do anything.
Ask you lots of questions.
I want a group of seasoned professionals that everybody looks and goes, wow, that's a solid group of people. You know, and we got a lot of plans. We're modeling it after the big boys in the business. I've studied how the Mark Z's and the Teresa Antonelli and Michelle Sayward and the people like that do their business. And they all follow the same business plan, and we're following the same business plan.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's say a new agent starts. What kind of advice would you give them? Not like, I mean, maybe at your brokerage or but I know you're looking for different people in that. But what advice would you give someone new that's just starting out a business like today? Somebody new needs to find somebody experienced and work with them, shadow them, learn what they do. And, you know, one good thing for a new agent to do is to do showings for experienced agents where you go out and show the houses. Yeah. The other thing they need to do is get as much education as they can. Go take a look at what trainings are available, not only in your company, but through your board and online, and really just start educating yourself, because the real estate test to get your license that's just to pass the test.
Hey, what's happening?
I got a visitor. So really the most important thing you can do is learn. Don't be in a rush to get out there and try to make a sale as quick as you can.
Yeah.
Yep, for
you
sure.
know, we're not used car salesmen. We don't show them 3 houses and ask them which house they're buying.
Yep.
You know, you really have to learn to listen to people, and shadowing an experienced agent where you can see how they do things. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the right way to do things, that's how you want to do it, because this is something that you have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, and so many companies out there just take people and they just throw them out there in the wind and say, good luck.
Yeah.
You know, 91% of agents fail within the first 5 years of business.
That's a big number.
So the ones that succeed are the ones that get educated and learn. And, you know, that's the thing. Like when I started out, I didn't sell a house my first, 5 months, because all I did was follow other people around and learn from them and study and study and study and study. So I knew what the hell I was doing. You know, one thing I started doing was looking at the MLS every day, looking at what just came on the market, what sold. And that helped me get a feel for where was pricing at for houses, so that you understand if a house is priced properly or not.
Yeah.
Studying the MLS for, you know, what's happened in the last 90 days, and take one city at a time and learn that city. You know, like I started Wyandotte, and I started looking at Wyandotte going, okay, this is what's on the market now. This is what's sold. And that gave me a really good feel for what pricing was. And it gave me a good feel for where the adjustments were between all redone and, oh my God, this is a flip house. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's important information to learn. And that's something nobody told me in the beginning to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wish somebody would have. But once I started doing it, then it gave me a much higher comfort level.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we got kind of an interesting question for you, but let's talk about let's say you started all over today with all the knowledge you had, and you didn't have any of your clients, but you had all the knowledge and you only had $1,000. How would you go about this?
How would I go about that?
How would you spend the $1,000 if you could start over with all the knowledge that you have now?
I'm going to make a lot of agents go, I would buy online leads.
Okay.
Through like realtor.com or somewhere like that. Because when you do realtor.com leads in the beginning, what you're usually getting are first-time buyers. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the more sophisticated buyers, the people that have been around the block and have bought a few houses and sold a few houses, are going to look and go, oh, you're brand new. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. I know more than you do. And, everybody gets out there and I got to get listings right away. Start working with first-time buyers.
Yep.
Because those are the people that you're going to, they're a first-timer and you tell them you're new, they're new buyers. They're going to be more apt to want to work with you. And so concentrate on targeting first-time buyers and working with them to get some business going and starting to build your sphere.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing you want to do is get in touch with everybody and let them know that you're selling real estate now, and that you'd appreciate any referrals that they had.
Yeah. I've heard that's a big step right there.
Yeah, it is.
Out. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, is there kind of a book that you might recommend to somebody? What's your favorite book? Business book, or any kind of book? He's like,
God, there's so many.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
I like Garrison Keller's books, the guy who started Keller Williams. His books, he really has a good handle on real estate and how to do it. And if you wanted to start out and read books, I would start with his, the guy who runs Keller Williams. His books are very, very informative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think he's Garrison Keller. Is it Gary Keller? Whatever he is, the guy that runs Keller Williams.
Yep.
But those were the books I started out reading in the beginning. And those were the ones that I found that were the most educational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then taking some classes like the accredited buyer's representative class and the pricing strategy advisor designation classes through the board. Because the accredited buyer's representative teaches you how to work with buyers and how to represent buyers, which when you're starting out, you're most likely going to be working with buyers. The pricing strategy advisor teaches you how to do CMAs. It's how to price a house properly, because knowing how to price a house properly is an important tool you need, not only as a listing agent, but as a buyer's agent, because you need to know what that house is likely going to appraise for, so you can advise your client properly on how to structure their deal.
Yeah.
And you really have to understand if that house is priced properly. So starting out, those would be the things that I would concentrate on.
That's awesome.
Nice.
So where do you see your business in the next 5 years?
And within the next 5 years, I hope it's grown into the point where everything is organically generated or sphere, and that I have a thriving company full of seasoned professionals. And then we have some new people that we're teaching and bringing up, because, that's part of our plan is we are going to bring in some newer people. I want people that raw, but, people that have the motivation and the drive.
Yeah.
And I'm just hoping within 5 years, we have 3, 4, or 5 offices open and 100 agents that love working here and are all love being part of our team.
That's awesome. Perfect.
Yeah. I want to teach people, and I enjoy teaching other people. It's a good business. And I know starting out, there wasn't a lot of real teaching. They always say, oh, we got all this great training. And then it's fluff, it's just generic crap. Like everyone tells you, oh, if you're approaching them for sale by owner and you want to get their business, you have to give them value. And nobody tells you, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Add
how?
value.
Yeah.
Okay, what does that mean? And what that really means is provide them with market data about their house, the market in their area, answer their questions type of thing. And nobody really ever teaches you that because they're so busy with all this generic stuff. And it's like, no, I want to teach people specifically, this is how I did it. This is how you're going to do it, and build everybody else up.
Nice.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So if someone was trying to get a hold of you, how could they reach you?
The easiest way is to call me at 734-258-2113 or text me.
Awesome. So we got one more question for you, Taylor.
Do you think a hot dog is a sandwich?
No, a hot dog is heaven, but you got to put chili and onions and mustard on it.
Okay.
I like it. Is there anything else you want to share with everybody before we go?
I think I'm good.
Sweet. Well, thanks for coming on and joining us today and telling us your story.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Are these working?
All right.
Here we go.
Oh, there we go. I think they're working. Should we tell them?
Mine keeps falling. It doesn't like my voice.
What do we gotta tell them?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. What do we got to point at? Hey, I think there's a subscription button. Like
It might be there.
might be right there too.
Somewhere.
Find
it. It's red.
Yeah, and it's
Red.
blue. It's green. I don't really know.
It's a color.
This mic isn't even attached. Did you plug these in? Well, I guess.
I wonder if they can hear us.
Yeah. I wonder if they hear us. Well, we should probably tell them if they can hear us. We should probably tell them also give us a 5-star review for listening to on Apple. That'd be cool.
5 stars,
review.
guys.
Share it with everybody they can think of.
We won't take 4 stars.
I mean, Taylor, I don't even think these are on. I mean,
No, I don't think this is working.
This is not working.
Yeah.